Hey folks, welcome back. I'm your host, R.R. Slugger, and today I wanted to slide on into your DMs and talk about LEGO Swivel Walkers. Swivel Walkers are a subgenre of LEGO mechs that all feature a similar play pattern. Instead of having articulated leg joints, Swivel Walkers slide 1 foot forward at a time, relying on several vectors of rotation at the hip. In the early days, this was achieved by making use of a ton of 2x2 turntables. 6882 Astro Grappler may have been the first to do this back in 1985, and as you can see here, there are a lot of moving parts. Once the basic mechanism was discovered, it was essentially copied and pasted several times within LEGO space. It wouldn't be until 1997 that we'd see the next major evolution, the integration of Technic elements. RoboForce brought us this giant step forward with 2151 Robo Raider and 2152 Robo Raptor. I've talked about both of these sets in great detail on my channel before, but let's hone in on the walking mechanism in particular today. As you can see, the 2x2 turntables have been replaced by Technic beams. This switchover doesn't have a huge impact on the overall play feature, but it does streamline the mechanism to some extent, allowing for a slightly smaller footprint. And yes, all of these puns are intentional. As a certified 2x2 turntable hater, it should come as no surprise that I prefer swivel walkers that use Technic beams instead. I feel that while functionally similar, the fluidity of the play feature is much improved with more purpose-built parts. Because of this, I want to focus on LEGO's System Technic Hybrid Swivel Walkers today, and frankly, it shouldn't take too long. There simply aren't very many of them. Aside from the pair of RoboForce mechs, we're looking at less than half a dozen options. Let's go through them chronologically. Firstly, a brief stop on planet Roboton. The Robo Raider stands as a stoic sentinel, well equipped to protect colonists from outside threats. With set exclusive printed pieces on each foot, the Robo Raider gives us a great first look at this new era of swivel walkers. The play function is made possible by a pair of thin 1x5 Technic lift arms, double stacked in parallel. Technic to system adapters placed on the top and bottom of this apparatus allow the legs and body of the mech to come together. It's the same story with the Robo Raptor, although this mech requires 3 double stacks of Technic lift arms in parallel. This provides more support for the elongated body of the walker, though the play function remains identical. All told, I think both mechs are a quantum leap forward when it comes to swivel walker design. We didn't see any swivel walkers in 1998, but in 1999, we got the best swivel walker of them all, 4940 Granite Grinder. It's no secret that I'm a huge fan of Rock Raiders. In fact, I chose the Granite Grinder as my favorite LEGO set of all time last summer. I can't say enough good things about this set, but today I'm going to focus on why I think the Granite Grinder improves the swivel walker formula. Simply put, the Granite Grinder swaps out the 5-length lift arms for 7-length lift arms. It's a subtle change, but I think it has a huge impact on the feel of the play feature. Every stride the walker takes is now wider, and each step moves the vehicle further, maximizing the effort applied. Moreover, the legs have been scaled up and are much easier to handle for kids and adults alike. Personally, I find the Granite Grinder to be an absolute joy, and I consider it to be at the pinnacle of swivel walker design. It doesn't get better than this, folks. Swivel walkers would take another year off at the turn of the century, but in 2001, we would see the concept enter the world of LEGO Star Wars. 7127 Imperial AT-ST stands as the sole swivel walker in the entire decades-long series, and I think that's a shame. It brings a playability to the table that no other LEGO AT-ST has been able to match. It also introduces a new concept to the swivel walker genre, articulated legs. Previously, all swivel walkers had static legs, but the Imperial AT-ST makes use of the ratchet hinge system pioneered by Rock Raiders and LEGO Star Wars back in 1999. This allows for a greater degree of flexibility, but whether or not you find this useful will depend on your priorities. For me, I don't feel the value of the added joints offset the cost and stability they create. I will say though that despite this, the legs are incredibly well designed. There are strategically placed bricks in critical spots to keep the joints from folding in on themselves. A common criticism I hear about this set is that the addition of brown and tan LEGO pieces betray the source material. Early LEGO Star Wars sets were designed in a way to intentionally liven them up by adding color in places it would usually be absent. In most cases, I like what the designers settled on, but for this set in particular, I think they went a little overboard. I guess you could interpret the brown and tan pieces to be dirt and debris from the forest moon of Endor, but that kind of locks this model into a specific setting. What would this ATST look like straight out of the factory? Well, luckily LEGO makes this easy to amend. I'll let you be the judge, but I think I prefer this look quite a bit more. Usually, I'm in favor of a more toyetic look from LEGO Star Wars, but I think the shaping of this set was already straining credulity to some extent. The miscoloration was a bridge too far for me. Overall, I think this is the weakest of the Technic Hybrid Swivel Walker sets, but it's not without merit. The cockpit design, for example, is quite clever. It also features some lateral innovation in the legs, but this would ultimately lead to an evolutionary dead end. One trait that would be carried forward, though, was the change from thin to thick Technic lift arms at the hip. However, in my opinion, this is a slight downgrade to the double-stacked thin lift arms, as they provide a bit more friction and feel less wobbly. Although, in the case of an ATST, maybe the wobble was intentional. This brings us to the last of the Technic Hybrid Swivel Walkers, and indeed, in my estimation, the last of the Swivel Walkers entirely. There are a couple of honorable mentions we'll get to in a moment, but for now, let's take a look at 4789 Alpha Team Aquatic Mech from 2002. This is a set that I've spent years hunting for. When I saw it pop up locally, I didn't even hesitate to pull the trigger. Seemingly the victim of some kind of limited release, the Aquatic Mech is one of the rarest Alpha Team sets out there. Sadly, this means that a lot of folks won't get to experience everything that this set has to offer. In my opinion, this set is a cut above most sets in the Mission Deep Sea sub-theme because of its clever building techniques and overall quality of the final product. The way that this canopy piece attaches to the frame of the mech is the stuff of legends. I've never seen this element used like this. Additionally, the Aquatic Mech makes the smart decision to return to static legs, but adds new articulation to the arms. Galador joints were on the bleeding edge, and in fact, they actually appeared here before Galador was launched. But before the Crater Critters lamp folks get on my case here, we've got behind the scenes photos of the joint type being developed throughout Galador's design period, and I have personally been informed by an employee who was there at the time that the joint type was indeed designed for Galador, even though it technically released with Alpha Team first. Alright, we good? Anyways, Galador compatibility adds a +1 bonus to the final score of any set, so the Aquatic Mech ranks quite highly in my book. If it wasn't so rare, and therefore expensive, I would heartily recommend it to anyone looking to give Swivel Walkers a try. This is one of the greats. And unfortunately, it's also one of the last. Likely a victim of the same innovations that made it so great, the Alpha Team Aquatic Mech gave Swivel Walkers their final stride forward. From here on out, LEGO mechs utilized ratchet hinges, Galador joints, or often some combination of the two. Swivel design was deemed a thing of the past and quietly put out to pasture. Personally, I don't consider Swivel Walkers to be inferior or obsolete by any metric. When done well, they offer an intuitive play feature that articulated knees simply can't. There's a trade-off to be had, for sure, but I don't see why Swivel Walkers can't exist today. Or do they? Well, it's time for some honorable mentions, and before we get to the latest iteration of Swivel Walker design, let's jump all the way back to 1999. LEGO Rock Raiders was almost home to 2 Swivel Walkers. This repair mech was a prototype model that DDI was seemingly very fond of. They featured it in gameplay documents, renders, and even in their pitch for a motion simulator amusement park ride. Without knowing for sure what was in the cancelled second wave of Rock Raiders, my money would be on something like the repair mech. And so that finally brings us to the last Swivel Walker I wanted to look at today. While not a proper set in its own right, this last example is actually the alternate build of set 10355 Blacktron Renegade. Apparently intended as an updated Alienator design, this build is by far the largest Swivel Walker to date. Forget 7-length Technic lift arms, this model uses 16-length Technic beams. I think the build actually contains more pieces than all previous Technic hybrid Swivel Walkers combined. It undoubtedly has size on its side, but does it bring anything else to the table? Well, I don't think it features much meaningful innovation in the swivel walking mechanism, but I do appreciate how it retains many of the modular play features found in the main build itself. Even if they still use this horrid clip connection system. No, I haven't changed my mind on this, it's still awful. Regardless, I found myself pleasantly surprised with the model, and I think it's a worthy entry in the Swivel Walker lineage. Kudos to senior designer Jae-Won Lee for making this happen. Now, let's see if we can sneak a Swivel Walker into a smaller, more easily accessible set. Like I said earlier, I don't think the merits of Swivel Walkers are obsolete. I'd love to see more pop up in the future, and maybe I've even missed some in my list today. Let me know if I have. Before I close out the video, I'd like to share with you a Swivel Walker of my own design. Perhaps emboldened by the overwhelmingly positive reception I received on the various spaceships of RR Slugger, I feel a little more confident about including my own mocks and videos from now on. You can let me know if I need to be knocked down a peg or two, though. Anyway, this is a futuristic seed spreader used for kickstarting agriculture on barren worlds. The dual dispersal pods can be loaded with any seeds deemed suitable for the climate and atmosphere of the chosen world. As the seeder trods along, the legs of the walker push and flatten the terrain in a way that will make for easier future traversal of more traditional farm equipment. Because these mechs are oftentimes the first terraformers sent into a viable region, the operators always appreciate having RoboForce nearby to protect them while they work away. I feel like we've only scratched the surface of what potential Swivel Walker design offers us. I encourage you to take a stab at making one as well. Maybe if there's enough renewed interest, the LEGO group will consider making them a more permanent fixture again. Only time will tell. Thanks for watching, everyone. This video was brought to you by the folks who support me during the summer of Slug, especially those subscribed to my Only Slugs tier on Patreon. Folks like Umar Ali, who has a YouTube channel dedicated to showcasing a Fakeamon region they've created inspired by the country of Pakistan. Besides that being a niche interest that is completely new to me, I also appreciate how Umar follows my channel less for the LEGO and more for my approach to video making. That's a huge compliment. Thank you so much. Zotaxia, who creates 90s space mocks on their Instagram page. Predictably, their favorite sub-themes are insectoids and UFO, both of which are solid choices. Actually, come to think of it, an insectoids Swivel Walker would be amazing. Maybe you can make it happen. The Cheese Knees, who claims to be one of the biggest fans of LEGO RoboForce out there. Well, if the somewhat meager view counts on my RoboForce retrospective videos are any indication, you might be safe in staking that claim. The Raging Typist, who'd like to give a shout out to Skedaddle Dog, who I hear is a pretty big fan of the Granite Grinder from LEGO Rock Raiders. All I've got to say is, great choice. Someone should really make a video talking about that set one day. Geo, who is a huge Thomas the Tank Engine collector. They recently struck gold with a sizable wooden railway score, and it reminded me of some of the toys I grew up with. Also, George Carlin was the best narrator of the show. I will not accept arguments to the contrary. DL Delauder, who has a YouTube channel of the same name with a couple of really cool animations on it. I love the art style that they've captured here, and you can tell a lot of effort went into each one. Great work. Meowbox, who always dreamt of being a designer of toys, robots, or toy robots. Currently, they're learning the ropes by prototyping designs with LEGO Technic pieces, then fleshing them out with 3D printed models. This stuff is so beyond me, but good luck with your projects. And lastly, Ode Leander, who is 3.5 years old and asks to play with her dad's Legos every other day. She also recently got a keyboard, so it sounds like she's getting a jumpstart into music too. You'll love to see it. These folks and many more deserve our thanks for making the Summer of Slug a reality. If you'd like to pitch in and show your support, the links are in the video description. I've been your host, RR Slugger, and I'll see you next time for another video.